Welcome, everyone, to episode 4 of the Elouise Show, where we will be discussing Black relationships. Today, our featured guest is Shauntay Dunbar. She is an author, dating expert, and entrepreneur from the Bronx, New York. Woo woo. She published her first book in 2017 titled Diving in Stilettos First, Memoirs of Dating Mr. Right Now. Diving in Stilettos picks up where her marriage left off, single again in New York City in her 30s during the age of online dating and social media. During the writing process, she learned a lot about herself, calling it therapeutic. She also realized that she wasn't the only one who could benefit from these lessons. So she wrote this book. Readers connect with Shawnee and her journey because they either know her or see themselves in her stilettos. She continues to share her experience while spreading her message of self-love via social media on her Instagram live show, Her View, every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Dating Tip Tuesday and Ask Shawnee will give insight and a good laugh. Her blog, Tales from the Single Relationship Expert, is enlightening and informative. Shauntay has teamed up with brands like Estee Lauder, Lord & Taylor, Shea Moisture, Essence Festival to host events and speaking engagements across the country. Her first book was voted favorite read of 2018 by Epiphania magazine, and she was the feature author at Women in Media Philly Conference and spoke at Mercy College February 2020. Shauntay has done guest appearances on television and podcasts, engaging in healthy conversations about love, life, dating, divorce, and self-awareness. She is currently working on book number 2, all while maintaining a good day job as an event planner for a luxury publisher in New York City. Collaborating with her other social media influencers and lifestyle experts to create online content and special events to empower women has become her passion. I am so very excited to be here today talking with Shawnee. Shawnee, are you here?
I am here.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you on this nice, hot summer New York day?
Girl, this heat wave is no joke.
No joke.
Keeping cool, sipping cute,
Me too.
Okay.
You got your green, I got my green too.
Yes, for the green drink. That's what I'm talking about. Sip.
Oh my God, this one's good too.
So
let's just go straight into it. All right.
Let's go.
Got my copy of Diving in Stilettos. This is so funny. My cousin is calling me. I literally sent him the link to this and he's like, let me call her at 1 o'clock. I have my copy of Diving in Stilettos First.
Thank you.
This book is just, it gives me all the fire, all the feels, all the vibes. Just
thank you.
I know in the bio, it like explained a little bit about what inspired you to write this book.
Yeah.
1 second, I'm so sorry. Hi, Angel. I'm live right now. And you keep calling my phone. I just know that my audience is seeing.
I love it.
Okay, I will call you later. Love you. Bye. You can't make it up.
Family.
You can't make it up. Family's important though.
Yeah,
all right, so let's get into it. Talk to me about this book. What inspired you to write this in 2017? Talk to me about the process of writing to like promoting it to like this next phase that you're on that I want you to describe. I don't even want to say anything.
So I was working 2 jobs and I got tired of working the second job and I was like, what is it that I like to do? So I've always loved writing since I was like a kid. So I would go to work. It was like an overnight job that I had and I would come off of these dates and have like these crazy stories. I was like, I swear, guys, you cannot make this shit up. This legit just happened to me. And it became like a running joke kind of thing. Like, okay, so what happened on this date, right? So I was like real active, like trying to get myself back out there. And once I quit the second job, I remember a colleague of mine said to me, he was like, so what are you going to do with all this spare time? And I was like, I think I'm going to write a book. And they were like, we've been telling you need to write a book. Okay, let's see. But people say, okay, but it's like, she's not going to do it. Okay. Right. And like legit, like maybe a week or two after, I was like, all right, Shauntay, you gotta like figure this stuff out. And I was on a train on my way to work, and I was like, who do I want to write about? And I was like, just start from the beginning. So I ended up writing the first chapter about my experience, like right after getting my annulment, and the guy that I dated right after that. And by my lunch break at the job, I was like, chapter 1 was done, and I was so hyped. And I was like, who else do I want to write about? Let me think about this. And it was just flowing.
Okay. So right now the book is done. The book has been out there. You've been promoting the book. But what I really personally love is what you're doing on Instagram. And like, you know, like there's a couple of things that you do. You have this cooking show where you talk relationships. It's so much fun. What's his name? Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry.
It's Chef Rashawn.
Chef Rashawn. He is amazing. He is
really good.
He cracks me up. I and the food. I'm such a foodie. I love it. So shout out to Chef Rashawn. Also, so you do that. You have your her view with shout out to your entire tribe. You guys talk about some great
stuff. Those girls.
But especially what I love are the skits. So taking parts of this, you have this book in like where you can read it, or you have the audio version, but you're using the audio version and you're doing these reenactments. And let me tell you, they have me dying. The one where you're packing to go on a trip.
Oh, yes. So thank you so much for being a part of that. When I decided to do the book, obviously I went the self-publishing route because I wanted all creative control over how the book went out, how it looked, the cover, everything. So just a quick gem, like when you are deciding to write your book and stuff like that, make sure you network across, because you never know like what your friends and who you know, what they're able to do. Like a coworker of mine actually did the cover of the book for me. So I say all that to say, just make sure you just know that you don't have to like reach at the very top when you first begin. Like just, you know, level it out and, you know, work it that way. But I went to Essence Fest and my book sold out the first day. And the lady said to me, she was like, well, how else can I get it? Do you have the audio version? And at the time I did not. And I was like, I am never going to let somebody else come to me and ask me for a version of this book that I do not have. Mm-hmm. So I made every version possible. And so with the audiobook, I was like, I always thought it would be fun to just kind of act it out and see like how I could get, you know, the story to come to life, because I do want it to be a film. I do want it to be, you know, on TV or something. And so it was like, just do it, right? Like you're more than capable. And when COVID hit, time was on my side. So I was like, you know what? Let's just don't sound like depressing.
Done. It's funny how just, you know, going into it, because you mentioned COVID, it's funny how like, you know, the pandemic is like making or breaking people right now, you know? And this uproar of like, you know, let's call it civil rights, you know, because it started off with like Black Lives Matter, and then it went to all Black Lives Matter, and and then it became about protecting Black women.
There's levels to it. For sure.
Yeah, for sure. I think that like, to be honest, all points are important, but like it's just interesting how like things can like deviate from where we started, you know? And then you have summertime coming into play. You know, people are hot, they bothered, people are crazy. Fireworks stopped.
Now you can think clearly a little bit or sleep a little better. Those fireworks, girl, I knew it was a setup. I had every conspiracy theory you could think of about them fireworks.
But speaking of summer, I gotta talk about this. Did you know that there's a Black-owned sunscreen brand?
Yes. Yes, and I need it, and everybody needs to know about it.
Everybody needs to know about this. Hold up, guys. I need you guys to see this real quick. Hold on. Relax. It's really happening right now. You see this? Black girl sunscreen. Yes. Because
Yeah.
we too can get skin cancer. So
Okay.
it is important to protect yourself. But who wants to be like chalky and like, like regular sunscreens are weird and they're bad. But this is made specifically for Black women,
Yes.
by Black women,
Yes.
by a Black woman, one person. And her name is, give me a second, Shauntay Dunbar. And she created this brand in 2016 because she felt that, we as Black women needed a sunscreen brand. So if you want to follow them on Instagram, it's up here. If you want to check out their website, buy from them, you can. I believe they also sell in Walmart, which is
They got it at Walmart. Good for them.
but you can buy, but it is better to buy directly from Black brands because when you buy from a third party, that third party gets a percentage of that person's profits. But if you want this brand to flourish, please buy directly from their website.
Exactly.
No, I said this last week. I started this last week, but none of the brands that I promote on this show even know that I'm promoting them on this show. I'm just like
Straight love.
I'm super fan of, great brands, great drinks.
That's what's up. And yes, Black people can get sunburn. We do need sunscreen. And what I like about it, because I just ordered it because I was like so amazed how smooth your skin feels afterward and how it goes on. There's no like white cast or anything like you were saying. Like it's just clear. It goes on clear.
And then when you go on your date to the park, or the beach, you can be sleeky a little bit.
Yes, you have a little picnic and yeah.
Okay, let's get back to it. On your Instagram, you describe yourself as a relationship expert. Ooh, in 10 words. Would you be able to tell me what holds people back from getting into relationships and what keeps them in situationships?
Okay, so there are a few things, but what holds them back in relationships is not being honest, not forgiving themselves for past relationships, not healing from those relationships that didn't work, and then not communicating about what you want out of this relationship, hence moving into the situationship, right? That's what happens when you try to go along to get along, and then something happens, and it's like, but I thought we were, and it's like, I never said that. So
I had a revelation the other day, and let me know if this is spot on, right? So I went out on a date with a guy, super dope.
East Corona Street? I'm so impressed.
You know what I'm saying? We get social distance. No, he wasn't. He was 3. But no. So I went on a date with a guy, right?
Okay.
And I really enjoyed the date. It was a great date. And I went home and I was like, damn, like, I wonder if he liked me. I wonder like what he thought about me, stuff like that.
Okay.
And then the next day I woke up and I was like, well, damn, what do I think about him?
Exactly. Because that was going to be my question.
And what I realized is that I don't know if this is specific to women. I don't know if this is specific to Black women or women of color or whatever. But I feel like a lot of the times we get into these situations where we're so concerned about how our suitor perceives us that we're not even like thinking about how we feel about said suitor. Like, okay, does he like, how I did my hair? Does he like my outfit? Does he understand like my quirkiness? Well, hold up. Do I like the way he cut that steak? Like, but you get what I'm saying? Like,
the steak.
Did he text me when I got, to make sure I got home safely? Like, right. Did I like that? Did I not like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think people assess what they're into so much. They keep assessing what other people think about them.
Right.
How can you even have a conversation with someone if you're not like, being
right?
Intimate?
This is what I'm saying. Like, I think that knowing yourself and being self-aware kind of alleviates those things, right? Because if you go in knowing like, you know what, pretty dope. So this is gonna be great. And having that attitude, like I'm gonna have fun no matter what, right? Because you go in and you're like, yeah, this is gonna be great, regardless of like if it is a great evening and y'all do decide to have a second date, or if you just have a great story to tell your friends when it's all over, it's still fun. So for me, it's like I know for Black women, a lot of times we have a lot of stigmas attached to us on how we're perceived by the world. So it's natural to think like, okay, I hope he doesn't think I'm angry. I hope he doesn't think, something's wrong with my hair. I hope he doesn't. And there's been so many like these things in society that kind of put these pressures on us. But Black is beautiful, baby. And he is, he should be very excited to be in your presence. So
a bit louder for the people in the back.
Black is beautiful, baby. My New Orleans accent in
Shawnee, honey. I don't know if you know this. Did you look in the mirror today, girl? You got a fire. You got a fire.
Thank you, my love. You are gorgeous too. And that's the other thing. You have to learn how to compliment each other and big each other up. And when somebody says, I look good today, you should say, yes, you do. Don't be a hater. But it takes time, and we're all getting there. But yeah, like you said, you should be wondering if you like him.
Hello. Okay. Wait. Okay.
So like rewind.
So we're assessing like what we like to, and making sure that we're holding ourselves to the standards that we should be held to, so that people can reciprocate that.
Yeah,
for sure. And speaking about, standards of being held to and reciprocity. I saw you posted that people have been DMing you about the entanglement situation.
Yeah.
And like, okay, so I don't want you to bash Will or Jada or August.
I would never.
I think August Alsina is an amazing artist. I knew his name before this. I think that he has a weighted past for sure. And I think that what he's very beautiful about by putting it into his music. What Black woman in America does not love Queen Jada Pinkett Smith? And to be honest, like I may love her a little bit more right now because she's real. Like something she had something happen. She was going through something came of it. Like she owned her shit, and she owned her shit in front of her husband, in front of an audience. Some people can't even own their shit in private with themselves.
So okay, that part.
Her crown is not fallen. She did not like fall off of her pedestal. She is still a beautiful queen that she still seated right up there. She's
still my friend in my head.
My auntie.
I love them. I love them together. I love them separately. I don't like how August Alsina decided to share his truth. It was just very calculated to me, so it seemed disingenuous to me. But to each his own. He's got his song "Entanglement" out with Rick Ross, so I hope he gets
that part right there. That part was the interview for me was messy.
Very messy.
The interview for me was messy. But what made it distasteful was the song.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wonder, because there are feelings involved here. These are real people. Like there's mental health involved here. So
yes.
So like I wonder if that's like a defense mechanism, because in his mind, if you listen to the interview, they were in a relationship, they were together.
And technically they were, right? Because Will told her when she used the word entanglement, he was like,
it probably, like, as much as his heart was probably already broken, it probably broke him a little bit more. And so
yeah, I mean, especially this is something that they said they went through like 4 years ago. So for it to resurface and the way it resurfaced, and it was listen, everybody handles their relationships the way they handle their relationships. I'm not one to judge about what you deem is appropriate for your relationship rules. That's why I also did the Dating Tip Tuesday about like open relationships, right? Because the point of this whole pandemic to me seems to be accepting change, right? In this new normal society, relationships are what they are for the individuals. It doesn't have to be a standard thing. So with Will and Jada, I was a little caught off guard. I do love that they are honest with each other and they do communicate very well. I just have trouble with the level of like toxicity that still exists, because it's like you've been together for 25 plus years and for some reason you continue to hurt each other. And I understand that people grow and there are, go through changes and stuff like that. But it's like at a certain point, it's like taking responsibility. So when she used the word entanglement, Will held her to taking that responsibility, like call it what it really was.
Call it what it was.
Yeah. So, but I still love them and they're out here living their best life. I think they went on vacation. Like, I was like, entanglement, that's rich people problems. I don't know about that tax bracket of relationship yet. So God forbid something happens, I hope we can still go on vacation too. So,
I don't know, like it's just really interesting. So, and then actually you mentioned something like after like, what's concerning to you is the level of toxicity in the relationship since they've been together for so long. And it's actually interesting because when you listen to a lot of new age R&B music, like there is a high level of like glorification of toxic relationships.
yes.
So, but obviously when you listen to these music, it's like Black men and Black women doing it. So creating it is this something that's a part of our culture? Is like, and if so, like, why is it okay for us to continue to hurt each other as opposed to like uplift each other, build each other, make each other feel good?
I think at this point, it's kind of like trying to just find someone who can deal with your level of mess and be okay to help you build and grow through that. And so I think what has been lost, especially a lot in the Black community, is the sticking together, staying together. Like you come from like grandparents and great grandparents that just stayed together. You'll see like pictures and there'll just be some random kid in the picture. You're like, who's that? And nobody will talk about this random kid. Meanwhile, that's like grandpa's kid with the neighbor from down the street and whatever. And everybody's just quiet, accepting it like, well, she's in the picture, like whatever. So, I mean, it's all about, for me, like just communicating, say what it is, mean what you say, keep your word. And about what works in your relationship. Now, when I look at like love and hip hop situations and all those stuff, I mean, if there's abuse, like physical abuse, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, like this is something that you really need to rethink here. Like sticking through all of that just to maintain a lifestyle, to me, I don't know if that's worth all of that to me. Worth my safety, worth me not being able to sleep at night because I don't know if you're gonna have an episode or something like that. So it's a matter of like knowing your partner, knowing yourself, knowing your limits, your triggers, and being able to, monitor those things and respect each other. There's a lot of loss of respect these days. It's very rare.
It's very discouraging. And honestly, like, so going back to like what I mentioned earlier about like, the different like movements that have been happening and the phrasing of them, right? So you have the one that says, protect Black women. And I think it's centered around the idea of like sexual abuse, domestic violence, the mistreatment, the over-sexualization of women of color. Specifically, now I say women of color, inclusive of all, no offense to white women, but of all non-white women.
Yes.
But especially more so, and I think it's really important for people to like understand that especially Black women are like just highly mistreated, over-sexualized. People are overly critical, like you use your hands and you're too emotional. Like people can be so accepting of other cultures except for Black culture. And I just think that that's horrendous.
Yeah.
People still from like what Black women do, how they do it all the time, claim it as their own. And it's okay when another person does it, but it's not okay for Black women. So yes, protect Black women, but not at the extent of bringing down Black men. Let's be clear.
Okay, and if you have, like, I talked about this on the podcast too, because you saw the interview. Well, it was an interview with 50 Cent and Lil Wayne on Lil Wayne's thing, and 50 Cent was going in about how he likes exotic women and, you know, foreign this, and it baffled me that he wouldn't consider Black women to be exotic and foreign and like all these like terms that he was using. And then he started to bash Black women, talking about, you know, how they were complaining that he only liked certain types of women, and it was like a whole controversy. And my thing is like, if you have a preference, your preference is your preference. You like who you like. That's fine. But don't downplay or devalue or disrespect what you don't like, because you don't have to deal with that. And I'm telling me, speaking personally, we don't like you either. So it's quite all right. No love lost. So it's a thin line between preference and prejudices out here. And people need to learn the difference.
That's the next conversation you're about to have, right? Or you just
yeah. I'm here for it.
But wait. So with all the pressures that we deal with as Black women, right? As Black women, do you feel curious about dating outside of your race ever, or do you feel like an obligation to date Black men?
I mean,
and why?
It's so funny because I was actually married to a Latino. And yes, girl, yes. And the experience with it wasn't terrible. I'm not gonna say like people were like looking at us all the time, like, why are they together? Like that kind of thing. But there were a lot of cultural differences. And there were a lot of things that I wish he would have protected me a little better when it came to certain things. Like, I'll give you a perfect example, real quick story. We were on our way coming back from a wine tasting, and we were in the cab, and the cab driver was speaking in Spanish. Now, my Spanish is not very good. I mean, I understand here and there. I'll survive, you know, but it wasn't great. So he's just this cab driver is going on and on and on and on and on. And my husband at the time was just kind of listening, saying like, okay. And I was like, what is he talking? Like, what is going on? Because he was like really like angry and like aggressive. And he was just like, I'll tell you later. So I'm like, okay. So we get home, and the cab driver was basically bashing Black people, talking about all these negative stereotypes or whatever. And I said to him, I was like, why didn't you just say like, okay, let's chill out on that talk. My wife is Black. Like, you didn't think to say any of that. You were just like, yeah. He was like, oh, I'm tired. I wasn't trying to get into all of that. And so that's where I understand when people are like, protect Black women and those kind of things, because to just be left out there like, wow, you really just didn't feel the need.
You really just let him slam me.
Right. I'm like, I'm right
my
here.
Entire family.
Right. And regardless of whether he thought I was Black or not, it was like, it was wrong for him to say all of that stuff, and you just let it happen. So, I mean,
it's really, really interesting too, the way there's an extreme amount of like racism and prejudice within the Latin culture, and it's mind-boggling, especially when you consider that like the Caribbean and Latin America and Central America all had African slaves brought there.
Exactly.
And at a very high level bird's eye view, if you look up the things that Black people are comprised of, the elements that make up a person and the elements that make up a Latin person, like Caribbean, Central American, or even South American, like we're literally made up of the same shit. We are the same people. And what we're suffering is just like, you know, centuries rather, of conditioning to divide ourselves. And it's really ugly.
It is. And it's like, you know, when people talk about like colorism, some people say colorism doesn't exist. But if you look at like the Black community, Latin community, even like Indian, like everybody has like this issue where they think that they grow up with this idea that lighter is better. And obviously it's because of the racism that we've been experiencing all these centuries. So it's time to get out of all of that for real.
But wait, hold up. So you mentioned that you and your ex were coming back from a wine tasting.
Yes.
What you want?
Because I love some wine.
I got to put you on. Did you know that there is a wine brand that is completely Black owned, and not just Black owned, but it's owned by Black women?
Yes.
The McBride Sisters collection. Hold on, I gotta share this now. Like right now, like yesterday.
Yes, and it's delicious.
So this is the McBride Sisters collection. As you can see, I have their Instagram up here, and I have their website. So for nearly half their lives, Robin McBride and Andrea McBride didn't know the other existed. They were. This is hilarious. You were just talking about who that kid in the
picture. Crazy, yep.
The half-sisters who were coincidentally raised in wine regions in California and New Zealand, respectively. That's really far. So clearly Daddy had an affair. Met for the first time in 1999. 6 years later, in 2005, they launched their wine business. Last year, the McBride Sisters collection sold nearly 100,000 cases, putting it in the top 3% of the nation's wineries. Today, 90% of their staff are women, and are more than half are people of color. So they are jumping on this new wave, right? And they are about to start doing spritzers. So you know how like you see like the little like cans in a box, wines in a box, wines in a can. They're these spritzers. So no need to bring your corks to the beach, ladies. Okay, when that guy asks you out on a date to the park or to the beach, and you want to with your little wine spritz, you don't need to bring, you know, the stuff to like, you don't need all that. You just go get the McBride Sisters collection. Sisters, get you some ice, put it in a little cooler. They got cooler purses, all right?
It's so funny, I can't. But yeah, and it's called She Can. The spritz is called She Can.
She Can.
That's why I love the names of their stuff because it's so creative. Like they have a Riesling called Black Girl Magic, and then the wine in the can is called She Can, and it's all different flavors: Pinot Grigio, Riesling, everything.
It's out already?
It's out. You can order it on their website.
I didn't know that it was out.
Yeah, it's out. Get your case, girl.
I'm about to get a case and then go. I'm about to get a case and go on a date.
I love it. Yes.
Right. You got me down. All right, so let's bring it back to mental health. Clearly.
Okay. You know, this is Minority Mental Health Awareness Month, July.
Yeah?
Yes.
Great time to have this conversation. So mental health is a trending topic in the Black community. Do you think there is a correlation between the refusal or inability to address one's mental health needs and the decline in marriages within the Black community?
Yeah, because people are not dealing or trying to find out what's really wrong. Sometimes in the Black community, there'll be someone that has something wrong in the family and no one acknowledges it. There's nothing wrong with that boy. He's fine. He just needs to focus. He's lazy. He's not paying attention. You know, meanwhile, you know, he probably has like a whole learning disability that no one ever explored. So I think what's great about this month is like in this generation is like we're showing that it's okay not to be okay. And it's okay to go seek help. And it's okay to go to therapists. You know, you're not looking at, it's no longer a stigma of like, oh, she must be crazy or she's unstable. It's more like, you know what, something's not right. I don't feel like myself, and I'm going to get the help that I need so that I can function, you know, as normal as I can function. So I think, yeah, it affects marriages too, because people don't know what's happening or trying to figure out
what's going on
mentally. Yeah.
So in the dating process, before you even get to marriage, right?
Yeah.
Maybe in the relationship process, like when do you bring up mental health? And if so, when do you bring up mental health? How do you bring it up? Like, you know, so you went to see a therapist in the past month?
It's, you know what, it can honestly be like casual conversation, right? Like if you want to have a clever way to bring it up, talk about Kanye, talk about Tamar Braxton, talk about, you know, Taraji P. Henson and Charlamagne the God. Have you read Shook Ones? You know, that's an easier way to ease into it. And hopefully the person opens up if they have a mental issue, or maybe that's a segue for you to say, yeah, you know, I have to do like this daily routine that, you know, helps me minimize my symptoms and stuff like that. But I'm good. I'm functioning. I just don't want anyone to feel like they should be ashamed of it or it's something that they need to hide. That's why it's good to like constantly talk about it, because it normalizes it. Mm-hmm. Right. So next time someone says to you, oh, you know, I'm bipolar or whatever it is, you're not like, what does that mean? Is this person gonna hurt me? Like, is this like, it's like, no, sometimes I gotta take a little medicine so I can chill out. Like, I'm fine. Like, you know. So yeah, I mean, should it be brought up on the first date? Maybe not, because you're just trying to see if I actually like you and want to get to know you more. But yeah, it's not something that should be brought up 6 months down the line.
And your mental health on the first date. Let's just put it on.
It's a lot. It's a lot. What are your childhood traumas? Like, whoa. So, everybody calm down.
It was a Catholic school, huh? So you basically was touched as a child, huh?
I cannot. You are bad.
Oh, sorry,
bad. Not on the first date, people. Not on the first date. Bring out the trauma a little bit. Maybe second, third date. I don't know. Have some conversations privately too. FaceTime.
And we're not talking about our childhood traumas. What are we talking about, Shawnee? Come on. Come on.
I don't know. Travel. Black girl magic wine.
Important.
You know, those fun things.
Who hurt you? I need to know.
Before we go any further.
How many do you have? First question. That's gonna let me know.
Yeah. Bad.
No, yeah. I think but I think part of it goes back to like accountability. Like we don't, you know, you got to be real with yourself, real enough with yourself to know that you need help. Mm-hmm. And I guess humble enough to be able to accept it, because I think that a lot of people feel like needing help is like weak or whatever. Yeah. But really what you're doing is you're weakening yourself by not getting the help that you need. You're weakening. There's actually links to, I'm sure you know this, to like mental health and your immune system. So if you're not like working on your mental health, your body will deteriorate.
Yeah.
Today, my
deteriorate.
For real.
That's my struggle words too.
To spell it, but can you say it, Lynette?
Okay, yeah. That's me and spelling neighbor. I never get it right on the first try. Never. Now I wrote a whole book.
Wrote a whole book to use the word neighbor.
Yeah, spell neighbor.
Live next door.
Right. I'm not doing this with you.
I'm with you. Let's talk about sex.
Okay.
Let's talk about sex. And me. No, seriously, let's talk about sex. So
let's seriously get into
like,
it.
For real.
It's important, yeah.
So we live in an over sexualized, just over sensory, I don't know if that's the right way to say it, type of society.
Sensory overload.
Sensory overload, for sure, for sure. Can sex too soon or too late ruin someone's chances of finding the right person?
It can.
Both?
I think it can. It can go either way. I mean, there are some couples who say like, "Oh, we had sex on the first date and we've been together for 15 years." You know, and then there's other people who are like, "We had sex on the first date and that's the last time I heard from him or her." You know, so I think it's more so about your comfortability. You'll see, here's a struggle word. Comfortability with the person. Me personally, I think, you know, there are other ways to be intimate. There's like 8 different other ways to be intimate with a person. There's 8 intimacies: recreational, emotional, oh gosh, I can't think of all of them right now. You put me on the spot. Unconditional, sexual, obviously, physical. Physical is not sexual.
It's like touch, holding hands.
Right, like when you laugh at somebody, you hold their shoulder, be like, girl, they're crazy.
Taking the eyes over that's so cute.
Exactly. That's like emotional. There's just so many other ways to deeply connect with someone before you actually engage in that activity. So people need to really explore those more. I feel like when you do that and you like really get to know somebody outside of sex, you build a better bond so that when you do have sex, it's like, it could be really amazing because you're just so into this person. I mean, there are just some people who the sex is going to be bad no matter what. But if you really like this person and people are teachable, right?
Can you overcome bad sex? Is that a thing?
You have to both want to and make an effort, right? And I know people say like, oh, you'll hear the saying all the time, it's not the size of the boat, it's the motion in the ocean and all this other stuff. And I'm like, is it though? I'm sorry. Is it? All right. But if you're really into this person, then obviously there's other ways to satisfy sexually. There's toys, there's oral, there's just you have many options. So you don't have to throw it all away.
Do you think bad sex is a good reason for a breakup?
It can be if you don't have a solid foundation on anything else. I mean, if you guys can't enjoy each other's company without having sex, and that's the end all be all, I think, yeah, it could be bad. It's how deep you want to know this person. Like, there's some people like, if the sex is bad, I'm out. There's nothing you can do about that. And other people are like, you know what? We can work on this. You're teachable, but you have to both want to do this. Yeah.
All right. So you're saying basically there's really no rule on like sex. Like, it is what it is. Like, each couple is unique.
Yep.
However, your strong recommendation is that people explore the other modes of intimacy before engaging in sex because it will only make the sex better.
Yes, I deeply agree with that. And then there's also, you heard of the 36 questions that lead to love?
No.
Okay, so if you go on to NewYorkTimes.com and you search 36 questions, they have these series of questions that you're supposed to ask on a first date, second date, or whenever you want in a relationship. I think it's cool to ask on a first date, and you really get to know somebody in these 36 questions. Now, I'm not saying at the end of them that you definitely fall head over heels, but you do have a new admiration and respect for the person depending on their answer. Yeah. So y'all check that out. 36 questions.
36 questions that will lead to love.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Good to know. Okay, let's talk about like when you go on a date. Okay. No. I feel like we spend a lot of time on dating. Let's talk about relationships, right?
Okay.
So when you go on these dates, you put your best foot forward, right?
Of course.
Most people try to like make sure that their hair is perfectly done, their makeup looks right, their outfit is good. And then you get in a relationship with someone, they know you now.
I like the jump. Your outfit and then you're together.
Not together. Like, he ain't put a ring on it, but y'all, he's sleeping at your house. You're sleeping at his house. You met his mama.
That's a fun stage.
But you comfortable.
I love it. And then what happened?
And then
tell us everything. Go.
Maybe you're not doing your nails as much. Maybe that hair is looking crazy. Where's your makeup? Like,
oh God.
How important is it to maintain the same, and I hate to use this word, but it's the best word for it, facade that you put up during dating while in the relationship? Or should you, during dating, try to just be who you actually are? So if you're a chick whose hair sometimes is crazy, maybe you need to pull up to that date with your hair sometimes crazy so he can see you're wild.
This is what I'm saying. Be you. This is why FaceTime is great, right? Because you can look crazy on FaceTime, right? And at least that's what you think is crazy, right? And for him, he could be like, girl, I really love when she has that messy bun and she's just in a tank top and whatever. Like, she looks beautiful. Versus you being made up all the time. That is hard to keep up. And eventually, when you guys start spending the night at each other's house, what do you think is gonna happen in the morning? You gonna hurry up and get up before him and run in the bathroom and put a whole face of makeup on and then come back? Come on, he ain't doing all that.
I'm not a morning person.
I say all that to say, be you, show like, and do different type of activities on these dates, right? You're not gonna put on a full face of makeup to go running or ride a bike or do some kind of rock climbing thing or take a hike or something like that. Especially in this heat, that would be great. Your whole face will melt off. Like, what are you doing, sis?
For real.
So that's a good time to show like the more natural side, and like the less you wear, even if you do wear a little bit of makeup, the less you wear, the easier it is when it starts to disappear and it's not so present versus the contour and the lashes.
Face? What?
The full beat all the time. That's tiring too. That's inexpensive. Having all that makeup. God. And then he'll get used to it and you'll be mad. So I say practice good hygiene.
Let your face breathe a little bit, ladies. Actually, let's just jump to hair real quick. So I found another brand. Curls.
Curls is my favorite.
So I haven't tried their products yet, the Curls brand. But
their Blueberry Bliss line is fantastic.
You know what's crazy? That's not the screenshot I took. I took the cashmere and caviar.
Oh, they have a new collection. I didn't know that.
But look at this queen here.
After these curls. Okay, sis.
Are amazing.
God.
Nice natural nails. I don't know who this model is, but she is doing it.
Yeah, and that's a perfect date look. Natural.
That is beautiful. That with a sundress is perfect for the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So this brand Curls is actually from Mahisha Dellinger. After she put herself through college at CSU Sacramento.
Yep.
She got an internship and eventually a job at Intel. While at that company, she spent nights and weekends on her idea for a natural hair care line. Ooh, message. She I'm what the message is in 2 seconds. She in 2002, bootstrapping the business. Her big break, landing a partnership with Target. Today, 80% of the company's revenue comes from selling many of her 150 products in stores such as Walmart, Bed Bath & Beyond, and CVS. The rest comes from online sales. She's written a book about her journey from the projects to the penthouse. From the projects to the penthouse. And she has her own TV show on Oprah's own network, Mind Your Business with Mahisha. She's dope. Helping other women-led businesses reach the $1 million mark. When I love it. Fire. She's so fire right now. To me,
she is.
To me, Mahisha, let's clap it up.
She's amazing.
Adam
I
Bellinger.
love it.
You know what I'm saying? I need her name on a shirt.
Yeah.
I need her name and her face on a shirt.
She's leader goals, you know, like she reached back in community. She's helping pull other women up. Like, I love to see it.
Remember I said message. It's actually interesting because you do the same thing where she was working for a larger company, right? But
Yeah.
she spent her nights working on her side hustle. So if anyone here is like listening in and they have like this dream, but you're not
Yeah.
come from money, and that is a reality for a lot of Black women, women of color. We tend to more often than not come from impoverished situations. Like,
yeah.
It's okay to go hustle for someone else to hold down your bills.
Yep.
And then on your free time, build your own stuff up, because it is going to take time. It is going to take money.
Yeah, it is.
But you know, the beauty of a dream, if you can see it, right?
Yeah.
If you can
Only you can see it.
That means it's attainable, right?
Yep.
If you can map it out, right, then you set goals for yourself, right?
Absolutely.
So on the way. And if you start chipping away at those goals, you get closer and closer to said dream.
Yes. Amen. So come through with the gems.
And you know, for some people, they reach the dream, but as they're working towards the original dream, that dream keeps expanding. So they feel like they never get there, when really you already did what you wanted to do 2 years ago. You did that. Right?
Yes.
You keep wanting something else.
Yes. I always say, like, celebrate those small successes. Like, you are not where you were yesterday. You aren't where you were last week. Celebrate yourself.
What about being like equally yoked? That's the thing that I hear, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I am a creative, an all-around creative, and an
yes, you are. Mm-hmm.
So, but my thing has always been like, I always tell like my family and friends, I don't foresee myself dating an artist. I think an artist would drive me crazy. But I'm an artist, you know. And but the thing about it is like you know, when dating, like the person would have to understand me.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying, and how I move, and I would have to understand them. So what is your idea on equally yoked? Do the people have to be from the same industry? Do you think it actually works better when people are in different industries, different lifestyles? If one person's an entrepreneur, should the other person be an entrepreneur? Like,
honestly, like, there really is no right or wrong. It's about what works. Some people is like opposites attract, right? So if I'm the entrepreneur and you're like 9 to 5, if you have the flexibility in your 9 to 5 that when I have to randomly travel or do something and I say, hey, you want to go, you can go with me, cool, right? Or if we're both like artists and then we're both, maybe one is excelling in the artistry and then one is kind of like having a hard time or whatever, it's like, are you going to be able to support me while I'm having my successes, so that, you know, of course, I'm going to help you with yours. But right now, I'm on top. I'm winning right now. So can we celebrate that?
So it sounds like what I'm hearing here is like, and it goes back to what you said earlier about the importance of communication, not just in dating, but also in relationships.
Yes.
Because there's so many modes of communication now. And even though there's so many different modes of communication, it seems like society does not know how to stay connected properly, or like they don't know how to communicate properly.
Right.
How do you think like couples can get a jump on this like communication hurdle early in their relationship, or if they've been in a lasting relationship and let's say they hit this bump where they just don't know how to talk to each other anymore? How do you fix that in 2020?
You have to go back to the basics, right? It's about when someone's speaking, not speaking over them, right? It's about listening and not listening for your rebuttal. It's about listening to understand what they're saying. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, there's like things, there's tests and things you can take, like find out your love language, find out your apology language, find out your argument style, find out your attachment style. Like, these are all things that affect how you communicate with people, because obviously in communication, there's what was said, right? There's the intent behind what was said. Then there was what was heard and what was interpreted from what was heard, right? And then it's just, okay, now are we about to understand each other? When are we going to do that? So there are different levels to the communication, but it's about being open to say, like, even if someone says, okay, so I hear what you're saying, and they repeat exactly what you're saying, and then they say, like, well, here's what I got from it, right? Because, you know, the worst apology is when someone said, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. You're like, you made me feel that way.
I'm sorry you feel like I did something wrong.
Right? Because I did. I'm right. So sorry you don't understand that. Like, it's just so many. So I think it's about, like, just if you take those quizzes, even if you take them together, even after being together for so many years, like, my love language is not the same that it was, you know, years ago. Like, it's pretty much the order that it is, kind of, but like now for me, yes, acts of service is still huge, like at the very top. But then now I like words of affirmation, where before it was like I like quality time and acts of service. So it's like there's different levels to it. There's some people who have physical touch at the bottom since COVID. Now physical touch is the top. It's about the state that you're in.
I am quality time, acts of service.
Oh, see? See? Yeah. I need to see your face.
And your words need to match, your actions need to match your words.
That's my thing.
That part.
That is huge. If your words don't match your actions, I can't trust
you. Got a problem, people. And by we got a problem, I mean you got a problem, because I won't be there. Right. What are some stigmas you think that Black women face in the dating world and in relationships?
Oh, that we have attitudes, or we're angry, or the word they like to use now is sassy. She's so sassy. That we have the feeling of we don't need a man, we don't need a person in our lives, we can do everything on our own. And none of it is true. None of it is true. Like, we're human beings who are compassionate. We are natural, you know, nurturers by nature. And, you know, we want the best, not just for ourselves, but for everyone who we come in contact with. So yeah, we might love a little hard. Yeah, we might be a little passionate when we want to say something. Yeah, we might be able to articulate ourselves in such a way that you get offended because you can't take the read, but you needed to hear it. You know, it's like, but that doesn't mean that, you know, you get to say like, oh, they don't want this, they don't want that. No, I want it, but I want it to be correct.
Do you think it's important to try to combat those stigmas, or do you think it's important to recognize when a man sees past the stigmas that society has for you and he can actually see you for who you are? Should we have to try to be something else?
No. I never recommend anyone pretending to be anything other than themselves, because let me tell you something, that representative, you get real tired of them. And when they're gone, you're like, well, who are you?
Who are you? Bring the rep back. I fuck with the rep heavy. I like the rep. The rep was my guy.
Right. Who's that? Yes. I've dated a lot of representatives, and I'd be pissed by month 3, like, who are you? Like, I did not sign up for this.
Oh, I thought you were calm all the time. Where does that come from? You enraged? You bipolar?
There it is. I was like, what is going on?
Cousin, I need to know.
You gotta ask the questions. Ask the question. And I always say, is there anything that you want to know? There's a way to ask these questions without it sounding like an interrogation. Like, if you say anything with a high-pitched voice and upbeat and a smile, you can ask anything you were. Like, oh, man, so you like your shrimp? Yeah, it tastes good. Have you been in jail? He'll be like, what? No. Or he'll say, yeah, I got out 2 years ago. What made you ask that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can ask anything. High pitch, smile, engage. You'll find out everything you need to know.
That's message. Connie, we have a minute left. All right. Yes. Last question. Okay. What is your favorite thing about being a beautiful Black queen?
My favorite thing is the versatility. I love how we are just able to become something new anytime we feel like it. Whether it be with our creativity as far as writing, music, style, our hair, how we speak to people, our colloquialisms, like it's just all magic and we do it so effortlessly. So yeah, I love our versatility.
Okay.
We're dope. We're dope.
You're super dope. You're super dope.
You're super dope.
Follow Shawnee at Diving in Stilettos First. Make
Yeah.
sure to pick up the book. Thank you, Shawnee, so very much for joining me today. This has been a fun episode.
It was fun. Thank you for having me. This is great. I love your platform.
Thank you.